Hi there, I'm Roux, and I'm back at it again with some Reddit. Welcome back, my subscriber-roonies. Today's shout-out goes to Dr. Potato, Animations and More. Not only is your channel thebomb.com with amazing animations, also, your comment was epic. This summer, get ready for garlic bread. If you feel lost as to what that means, you should definitely check out my previous video. It will explain everything and nothing because it's insane people Facebook. But today is a new day, and today is all about entitled parents. Mom be parking. Please don't park there. I'd like to go to work. My partner and I just bought a new house. It's right next to a primary school, so we constantly get people parking down our road as you have to pay money to park in the school car park. It's barely anything, like £5 a month. But that road is a nightmare to go down, so I understand my parents look for different places to park. Many houses down my road have put no parking plaques on their drives and in front of their house, as we have allocated 2 spaces, one on drive and one in front of our house. Most of the time, people just park in front of our house anyway, drop off their kids, and then go on their way. I'm fine with that. Doesn't bother me as I'm already gone by that time. Last week, I had to stay in as I was off to a meeting at 10 a.m., and it's closer from my house than the office. As I was getting ready at 9 a.m., I was just about to head off, and I see someone park right in front of my drive where my car is parked. My partner's car is in front of our house, so there's no other spaces along the road. I open the window, and this is the exchange we had. Hi there, are you going to be there long?
I'm just going to be an hour or two. It won't be long.
Sorry, you can't park there. I'm going out in a bit, and you've parked in front of my car.
Can it wait until lunch?
I was quite shocked, but stood my ground. Not really. I have a work meeting to go to, and then I'll be back around 11-ish.
Can I park in your drive then?
No, as I will be coming back to park. There's a car park just around the corner. I think it's about £1 for 2-hour stay.
I know. I don't want to pay because it might be longer than 2 hours.
Well, you can't park in front of my drive. You're going to have to find somewhere else.
When you leave, I can just park back here anyway. It doesn't make a difference.
This is where I start to get a little irate. I come out of my house and I see her still faffing around waiting for me to just say, fine, which isn't going to happen. I'm not sure what your issue is. You wouldn't want people to park in front of your driveway, would you?
I don't have a driveway, so it's not my problem.
Maybe all the money you're saving in parking could go towards a driveway then. She wasn't happy I said that. Just to let you know, if I come back and my driveway is blocked, I will call someone to tow it, and it will be a lot more expensive than the £1 car park fee. She huffed and puffed, got in her car, and I saw her drive round to the short stay car park. As I drove past her, she gracefully gave me the middle finger, all because she didn't want to pay for parking. Imagine being so entitled that you genuinely believe that someone should rearrange their day just so that you can have their driveway. Okay then, lady, okay. Good luck with that. It's in the bag. Entitled parent tries to keep a $2,000 bag. Background: I collect designer bags. Yeah, I know, not everyone's forte, capitalism, waste of money, blah blah. But it's something I like, and I work hard to buy them myself. So, family and friends came over with their 3 kids between the ages of 8 to 4 last Sunday. The oldest was decent. The middle one was rude, but I could deal with that. The youngest, on the other hand, was a total brat. It didn't help that her parents gave in to her every whim. I had mistakenly left out one of my new bags because the family showed up 30 minutes early. Think Louis Vuitton Speedy 30 from the Catagram collection. For anyone who isn't familiar, it's basically a bag in the classic Louis Vuitton monogram print with cute cat patches all over. Okay, I did not know that, so nice to have it explained. The youngest kid notices my bag and decides to play dress up with it for the duration of their visit. I was going to take it away, definitely should have, but I decided to be nice and allow her to play with it, while watching her like a hawk. Time comes for them to leave, and the little shit gets ready to walk out the door with my bag. I politely asked her multiple times and even offered her candy to give it back, but she refused. While this is going on, her parents are just standing there, grinning like idiots, at their kid's apparent display of cuteness. Everyone asks the parents to take it from her and give it back to me, but the father leaves to lead the other kids into the car with a chuckle and a "good luck with that." I'm getting pretty angry at this point, since she is distorting the shape of the bag by squeezing it, and her mother is not doing anything. I firmly tell the mother to get my expensive bag back, and she decides to cop an attitude with me. You need to get her to give me my bag back.
She's just a baby, and it's just a bag. Can you calm down?
It's an expensive bag, and I need it back.
But she loves it so much because it has cats on it. Cats are her favorite animal. Can she borrow it?
No, it was costly and I need it back.
That's pretty selfish of you. I don't know why a grown woman needs a bag with animals on it. Looks like it's for kids.
It's my bag and I need it back now. Designer bags are not for kids. She eventually gave it back due to everyone in the house pressuring her, but basically threw it at me and stomped out of the house. Okay then, classy. And if that wasn't enough, there's an update. The story goes on. So after this incident, apparently the entitled parent is now on the text format. Let's see how it goes.
Hi.
Hello?
So, you know how much Jenna loved your cat bag, right? She saw a bag with cats on it in the store and really wanted it, but we didn't want to spend the money for it because it's not worth it. Do you think we can let her have yours, at least borrow it? She didn't forget about it. She will get tired of it eventually, and then you can have it back.
Are you serious? After what happened last time, it will be a no.
Why did you take so long to respond earlier? And yes, I'm serious. And that's really rude of you. She's a little girl. She just wants to play around with it. Why are you being like this?
1, I was busy. 2, I don't care. 3, C2.
Savage.
I love it.
How heartless can you be? Just let her play with the stupid bag.
You will not order me around. If she wants to play with the bag, then I will send you a link so you can purchase one yourself.
I already told you, I don't want to spend money on it.
Okay, so how is that my problem? I bought it for myself. That bag is $2,000 and I will not have it ruined. Stop bothering me.
So now you're saying that my daughter will ruin the stupid bag? What an evil, cruel bitch you are. You can afford it anyway.
Just because I can afford a bag that I worked hard for doesn't mean that your daughter is entitled to it. You are her mother. You entitled stupid bitch. If she wants something, then you buy it for her. Go shove a vacuum up your ass, and maybe it will be able to suck the stupidity out of you. Stop contacting me.
Fuck you, cunt. I will be telling your grandparents about what a bitch you are.
Laughing my ass off, go ahead. They already know that I'm in the right. Sorry, sweetie, they aren't going to stop loving me. That is the craziest thing ever. First of all, like a $2,000 bag, that's like a car. That's the value of a car, and you want your kid to be able to play with it? I really get so disgusted when people are like, well, you can afford it. Like they have a chip on their shoulder like, you make more money than me, you have more things than me, so therefore you should give it all to me. It's like that Judge Judy episode. Holla if you know what I'm talking about. That lady who's like,
but she can afford having to have like a maid and childcare and I have 5 kids and she could afford to give me the money.
And Judge Judy just goes, but since when did you become a partner in her and her husband's money? Epic. Let it slide, because I'm gonna break your fucking arm. I used to work as a lifeguard. Part of my job meant turning away kids who were too short to go down certain water slides or kicking out the kids under 16 from the hot tub. During my time there, I met a lot of parents who threw childlike tantrums whenever I told their kid no. No experience was quite as terrifying, but now laughable, as the pregnant lady who threatened to break my arm. Background. It was my first day. I was working at the slides, which had a 42-inch minimum, when this father comes up holding a 2 or 3-year-old girl. She's barely 3 feet, if even that. I tell him that she's too short to go down the slide. He asks why. I explain that she could literally flip over and hit her head, but he insists that she can do it. My DNA can do anything! I politely turn him away, saying that he can speak to my manager or supervisor, standard protocol in situations like this. I tell him if he comes back with this special wristband saying she can ride, I'll let her on. Otherwise, no. This is when things get interesting. When pressuring me to make an exception for his kid doesn't work, he pulls his daughter off to the side and tells her to run past me. I was shocked and didn't know what to do. I told her to stop, but she didn't. The worst part is when he takes her back to the slide and tries to have his daughter do the same thing, claiming he's a big safety guy and knows what he's doing. This time when the girl runs by, I put my arm out, palm facing away from the girl, blocking the slide. The girl runs straight into my arm. The gates of hell open. I'm going to break your fucking arm. How dare you lay a hand on my daughter? I'll have your fucking job. The girl's mother has appeared and boy is she angry. She gets right up in my face, screaming at me and waving her hands around. I was only 15 at the time and I was honestly scared. I whistled 2 times, our code for needing a manager, like immediately. And the lady continues to scream at me, demanding I let her child go down the slide while threatening me. The manager and supervisor come over. They take her away to calm her down and measure the child. I can hear and see the lady from across the freaking park. They thought that since their daughter went down once, she should be allowed to go down again. Like the girl ran past me and she was honestly lucky she didn't get hurt. The worst part is, when she and her husband came back demanding I let their child go down the slide, I tell them no. If the child got hurt, I could be in serious trouble. Of course, she throws another fit while the dad sighs and carries his daughter away. The woman, of course, left the water park, but not after a couple of more screaming, cursing, and threatening. There's a reason why even like the biggest, baddest, grisliest bears are not gonna touch or bother mother bears. They may just lose their shit and it's not nice and they will murder you like that.
It's scary.
Pregnancy hormones. It's scary. And I would be willing to bet anything that if their daughter got hurt, they would be suing everyone, including the 15-year-old kid who, quote unquote, let their child go down the slide. Mother of the year. I work for a hair school. A school, as in you get a huge discount because our students are practicing their skills. It's also quite a popular hair school, and we have lots of guests because we do really good work and train really well. That said, we have a ton of laws and restrictions we have to follow dedicated by our state because essentially we have a lot of unlicensed people using chemicals, hot tools, and scissors and razors, etc. You have to sign a waiver to get your hair done at my work for a reason. There is a danger at every turn. You can't even wear open-toed shoes as a student or an employee because what if you drop a razor on your toe? One great parent comes to mind for this post. Parent A. Let's call her Angela. Angela, holding a newborn baby to her chest.
I'm checking in for a cut and color.
Awesome. What's your name and who will be watching your baby while you get this done?
He will sit on my lap.
I also happen to be right there and witnessed the entire encounter, and we have online and physical signs about how you cannot bring a person under the age of 18 in for services without signing for them, and can never bring another person with you to the salon area unless they too are getting a service. Unfortunately, due to state laws and the fact that we will be using chemicals on your hair and must cover you with a cape to protect your skin and clothing, you cannot have a person on your lap as it may put him in danger of chemical burns.
He's a very quiet baby.
That makes no difference. We can't do that.
I drove here from 2 hours away. My husband is disabled with cancer, and I got a babysitter for my other 3 kids. Can you make an exception?
No, ma'am, I didn't create the laws or rules of our school, but I do have to abide by them.
I demand to speak with your manager.
Okay, she's right here. Everything he said to you is correct.
How can you be so unfeeling? My husband is sick and I got a babysitter.
Why did you not get a babysitter for the child you have with you then?
How dare you? He's a newborn. I can't leave him alone.
Yes, and I can't allow your newborn to be exposed to chemicals and tools that might hurt him. This is a school with unlicensed people. Even in a salon of professionals, you have to be covered with a cape and can't take a newborn with you.
I demand my money back. You are so unprofessional and unfeeling.
Ma'am, you haven't paid yet. I can't give you money I haven't received.
Well, I want a free service next time.
No. We are doing our jobs to ensure the health and safety of our customers. You cannot get a free service because you're angry about the rules we follow.
I'll be calling your manager.
Okay, his number is beep bop boop boop. Then I went to my manager and was like, you're going to get a call in 5, 4, 3, 2, and she called demanding free services and he handed the phone to me, so I said, wow, that's really risky of you. Why would you want your newborn baby to be exposed to chemicals like that? I have a child and I would never do that to them. I don't have a child, and my manager is a guy, and I'm a girl, but he has a neutral name and trusts me to impersonate him if needed. So she felt immediately shamed and never came back. Good riddance. That's just insane. It takes, I can't even imagine, it takes so much effort to grow a human, and you're just gonna bring them to a dangerous place full of toxic chemicals and fiery, sharp things? Someone should really call CPS and have a wellness check on those kids. I'm worried. That lady's priorities is not in the right place. I love how the poster impersonated their manager though. That's hysterical.
Size does matter. Why doesn't this adult store sell children's clothes?
My mom owns a clothing store, and after school I go there to help her out with work. This store wasn't really the most child-friendly, as it sold some pretty adult clothes. Nothing like lingerie, but more like literally nothing that would fit on a child body. So one day, my mom went out to buy us some food, 15-minute drive or so, and I was left to watch over her store. The store was quite slow on Wednesdays, so I didn't expect anyone while she was gone. And in the rare event that someone does come, I've watched my mom work for the longest, and she's taught me all the tricks in retail and bargaining, so I was all set. I was scrolling through my phone, sitting at the cash register, when entitled mother and entitled brat walks in. I hurriedly stood up to my feet and gave a huge smile, as this was my first solo customer for the week. I said, "Good morning," and gave a subtle but respectful bow, which both mother and child ignored. I noticed that entitled mother was looking in the smaller sized section, and not to fat shame, but that definitely wasn't anywhere near her size. I walked over to entitled mother and said, Miss, I think this section would be more suited to you. We're having a 25% sale off this section too," and gestured to the other side of the store. Entitled mother quickly picked up a skimpy dress and held it up to her daughter, completely ignoring my existence. Then turned around and said, "You got any kid sizes? These shits are huge." I then responded, "Sorry, no, this is a store mainly for adults." And oh boy, do I regret saying that, because entitled mother then said, "What? What do you mean by that?" I repeated myself, saying that this store sells adult sizes and not for kids. Entitled mother said, "Bullshit, an adult store and a kids plaza?" Mind you, this isn't a kids plaza. There's a special needs place for kids a few spots down on the block, but that's about it. And I told entitled mother that. She didn't seem too pleased with my response though, because then she bursts out saying, "Are you giving me an attitude? I'm not here to play any games. My baby," entitled brat, "has a birthday party in 4 days and I need a dress for her." Wait, I'm sorry, I gave an attitude? Thank God for timing. My mom gets back with food and takeaway plates and a confused look on her face as she sees some random kid touching her clothes and a lady all in my face. My mom says, "Sweetie, take these, please," gesturing for me to take the food out of her hands and set it down somewhere. I do exactly that and sit back at the register because surely the manager is here now and entitled mother doesn't want anything to do with me anymore. Nope. Entitled mother shifts over and says to me, "Now that witnesses are here, you start acting all innocent?" Or something along those lines. My mom looks at me even more confused and asks, "What's going on here? Can I help you, miss?" Entitled mother says, "Your coworker here apparently doesn't know how to act around authority," and looks me up and down with a face set as if she just took a good whiff of dog poo. Entitled brat finally speaks up and says, "I just want a dress. Can I have this one, Ma?" and holds up a dress that it's meant to be a bathing suit cover and also is way too big for her. She says, "Does it fit? It looks nice from here. Bring it over." Entitled mother inspects the dress and sees that it doesn't fit, then immediately starts yelling, "Seriously? Not one single fucking dress?" She didn't point or anything, but I could tell it was specified towards me. Again, I didn't care. I got my spring rolls. I was happy. My mom, on the other hand, did care. She said back calmly, "Please leave my store." Entitled mother is fuming, and I mean mega fuming. Entitled mother yells, "Excuse me? I can call the property owner right now and get you evicted, bitch." My mom responds, unfazed, "Get out of my store." Entitled mother and entitled brat storms out while entitled mother yelled, "Now my daughter has no dress for her birthday, you fucking," racial slur, "invading our lands." And entitled brat walks past me and quietly says another racial slur, and I just respond with, "Thank you, and same to you," with the biggest grin on my face. A few weeks later, the plaza owner calls us about the situation because apparently entitled mother actually contacted him, but instead of the usual yelling, he apologized for his wife's behavior. I'm sorry, what? It's his wife. Oh my god. I love the fact that he would be yelling, like it's like a thing, like if you get in trouble, he would be yelling, but he knows this woman so well. He lives with her. He's married to this woman, and he just like, "I'm so sorry." Stage dad. Entitled parent tells me to stop cheering for my brother. So my brother is an amateur tennis player, and at the time, me and the rest of the family decided to go down with him for a regional tournament, as it was at a fairly nice seaside town and was the 20th anniversary of when we decided to move to the UK from Bulgaria. During one of his matches, where myself, the family, and the rest of the club team, including the coaches, were watching and supporting him from the stands, entitled parent turns around and tells us to stop cheering for my brother. Of course, we're pretty confused. It's a sports event. Isn't that what you're meant to do as a spectator? Plus, we weren't making that much noise, aside from clapping, and we did so in between points, so we didn't disturb them whilst they were playing. We ignored him, thinking he was getting a bit touchy from the whole thing, and kept going. This is where the fun begins. Entitled parent turns around and starts screaming at us, saying that we're disrupting the game and making his son feel bad because nobody was cheering for him. My mom decides to speak up and says that there's nothing in the rules that says we can't cheer, and that we'd lower the volume if it was making his son upset. Yeah, that wasn't enough for him. He turns to my mom and starts screaming in her face, saying that we were rude and disrespectful. My mom diplomatically asks the guy to please stop shouting, as his screaming had now affected all of the 10 courts around the tennis club, and he starts hurling insults at my mom. My mom calls one of the referees over, who tells entitled parent that he can't yell at us and that supporting players is permitted in the rules. Entitled parent doesn't like this and leaves. Or so we thought. He instead walks down behind the side of the court where my brother is playing and begins taunting him from behind. He starts to rattle the fence that surrounded the court, yelling insults like, "My son is better than you," and "You don't deserve to win." And at one point, I'm pretty sure he started going into a semi-racist rant, yelling something about immigrants or shit. The match finishes and my brother wins. I can't fault the other kid, he seemed more embarrassed than anything. But that's when the shit hits the fan. entitled parent walks straight up to my brother as he is packing up his things and starts yelling at him. My brother, who was 12 at the time, stood there completely shook, confused and on the verge of tears as this grown man is screaming insults at him, threatening to have him disqualified for beating his son and saying that he was cheating the whole game. The ironic thing being was the other kid actually had point violations for making purposely wrong line calls. My mom at this point enters full grizzly bear mode and storms down to start yelling at this guy, whilst my dad calls the police. Me, being the 16-year-old wannabe the hard man, was about to run down and get right in that action until one of the coaches told me to just leave it, otherwise we could get into more trouble. Entitled parent was arrested for harassment and his son was disqualified from the tournament. I actually feel sorry for the kid, seeing as I talked to him a bit later and he was actually quite nice. Entitled parent, though, got what was coming to him. Recently, myself and a few of my bandmates saw the guy again at a tournament in our hometown, and as a sweet bit of revenge, superglued a dildo to the front of his Mercedes. Edit, just to explain the whole dildo on the Mercedes thing, it was a bit of a right time, right place situation. We didn't know he was coming, but when we found out, we wanted to fuck with him. So my drummer tells me he got a dildo as a secret Santa present, so we grabbed some super glue and glued the fucker to his car. Just clarifying because people were asking in the comments. No shame though, like you shouldn't feel ashamed about having a dildo on your person at all times. Don't feel ashamed. We all have our thing. I feel really bad for the kid though, because he sounds nice and his dad literally ruined every opportunity he had to like have a fair game or win or anything because he was literally an insane person. So, yeah. You think you're too good for my son? Entitled mom tries to get me expelled because I won't date her son. Background info. At the time of this incident, I was only 12 or 13 years old. I'm 23 now, so I'm going off of what I remember. I knew this boy I went to elementary school with had liked me for a while, but I was never really into it. I realized later that I am very much into girls and not guys. After months and months of this boy trying to get my attention, I finally told him to stop bothering me and that I don't like him like that. I didn't think too much of it since he didn't really seem all that upset. Then, shit hit the fan. The next day, I got called into the principal's office, and mind you, I've never been called into the office before other than when to receive awards. Yeah, I was that kid. Anyway, I got called down to the office and didn't think anything of it. When I got there, the secretary motioned for me to go into the principal's office. When I walked in, I was completely taken aback. Sitting in the other two chairs was that boy who liked me, Brian, and his mother. Not completely understanding what was going on, I slowly turned my attention to my principal and asked him what was going on. Since I was that kid, and principal knew me very well, and had a look of sympathy on his face, he told me to take a seat. So I did. My principal then told me why I had been called down to the office. Apparently, entitled mother had told my principal that I had threatened Brian and told him that if he didn't leave me alone, I was going to stab him. Okay, that escalated quickly. I didn't know what to say. I just sat there in absolute horror. Entitled mother then started to berate me.
See? She can't even defend herself because she knows what she said was awful. She should be expelled. What 10-year-old, she knew I was 13, said something like that? Especially to my wonderful Brian.
My principal then looks at me and says, "Did you say that to Brian?" I go, "No," I sputtered out. I was sobbing because I had never been in a situation like this before. "What did you say?" "I just told him that I didn't like him and for him to stop bothering me."
"Liar! That's not true. My son would never..."
Principal cuts her off. "You will not speak to a student like that. I understand why you are upset, but you will not speak to her like that."
"I want to see some form of discipline. Expel her."
"I'm not going to expel her. There's no proof that she said what Brian is claiming she said."
"My son has never lied before. I bet this little brat lies all the time."
"That's enough. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I will handle this from here." Entitled mother storms out of the office. Principal asks Brian, Did she really say that to you, Brian?
Well, not exactly. I told my mom she didn't want to date me and she started yelling.
Principal looks at me and says, "You may go back to your class. I will talk to you later, okay?" I nod my head and walk out the door and start to head back to my class. Unfortunately, entitled mother is waiting at the beginning of the hallway that led to my classroom. When she sees me, she explodes. "None of this would have happened if you would just have dated my son, you little brat. Do you think you're too good for him? I tried to ignore her and get to my classroom as quickly as possible. "Listen to me, you little cunt!" That was the first time I had ever heard that word before, but just by the way she said it, I stopped dead in my tracks. My third grade teacher came out of her classroom after hearing entitled mother yell. She stared from me to entitled mother and put 2 and 2 together.
"What did you just say to the student?" "Me? She's the one that said it!"
I had her back when she was in grade 3, and I know for a fact that her voice does not sound like a middle-aged woman.
"She needs to be expelled. She's clearly out of control."
"I'm going to have to ask you to leave the property right now, or I will call the cops." Entitled mother says to me,
"Looks like everyone at this fucked up school thinks the sun shines out of your ass."
My teacher, "Leave! Now!" Entitled mother storms down the hallway and out the front door. My teacher goes to the teachers across the hall and asks if they can watch her students for a couple of minutes while she goes to the office. My teacher then takes me to the office and informs my principal and the secretaries what just happened. Brian is visibly embarrassed at this point. My principal decided to call the cops and my parents to inform them of what happened. Apparently, entitled mother was addicted to prescription meds and ended up having Brian taken away from her and sent to live with his dad that had no idea what was going on. Brian apologized to me and told me that he never told his mother what she accused me of saying. I told him it wasn't his fault. He asked me if we could still be friends, but I declined. That's so sad though, like prescription drugs, any drugs can make people insane. Prescription drugs can actually be more stronger than heroin, so it'll drive people insane, literally. That's it for this time. I hope you like the stories I picked and that you'll come back for more. I post every Friday. Please become my subscriber-oni and comment and like and put on the notification bell. Wow, that was really high-pitched. I'm sorry. See you next time. Bye. Oh, and by the way, come to my Discord. Let's hang!